Certainly from our perspective, we're at the precipice. So we haven't gone over the precipice. We're kind of looking out over the cliff at this point. And we're at a point where, based upon our numbers, things cannot continue as they are.
We're at the precipice. Things cannot continue the way they are. So what does our genius government have to offer us? We're going to get into it in this report. Anita Anand got absolutely destroyed by Vassy Kapelos, and I am going to provide the data. Let's get into this report.
One of the points in the speech that I made at the UN General Assembly today.
Oh, let's take a look at that speech. These liberals strut across the planet as if they're rock stars, except for the venues. They're all empty. Anita Anand at the UN, there wasn't a crowd in sight, not even a curious tourist, just rows of empty seats. And the seats are listening better than the world is. These liberals actually believe they're heaven sent, that the world is begging to hear their wisdom. But in reality, nobody is coming to Canada for a deal, no matter how many times they tell us we are number one. From Justin Trudeau talking in an empty room, patting his own back, to now Anita Anand speaking to nobody at the UN. They're so self-absorbed, they don't even notice when the world has left the room. Check out this train wreck for yourself.
Does not shrink from global challenge. Canada does not retreat from duty. Canada does not walk away from building and strengthening peace.
Who is she talking to?
Even as the world changes, Canada remains a stable and reliable partner, both in business and collective security. We face a changed reality. Rising unilateralism and protectionism weaken multilateral institutions and the rule of law, the very bedrock of the post-war order. In the face of these stark realities, retreat is not an option. Canada will not turn inward. Canada will work to reform and strengthen multilateral institutions such as the United Nations so that they are more resilient and more effective in meeting the challenges of today and tomorrow. Canada's position is clear. Putin cannot be permitted to redraw boundaries at his will. Might does not make right. Ukraine is not backing down, nor will its friends, including Canada. Canada's recognition of Palestine last week reflects long-standing Canadian policy based on the right of the Palestinian people to self-determination and our commitment to a two-state solution, a future where Israelis and Palestinians live side by side in peace and security.
All I have to say is I'm glad the world wasn't there to watch this. Our GDP per capita hasn't grown in a decade, and we're gonna go there and start dictating to the world that we want this, we want that. We are the Liberal Party of Canada. We're gonna tell you what to do. Because they don't represent me, and I'm sure they don't represent you as well.
Is in fact about our economic resilience at home. Canada is doubling down on our multilateral relationships, not only in defense and security, but also in areas of the economy, such as the WTO. We are forging new economic partnerships with partners. I cited the trade agreement with Indonesia last week, Mexico, and further efforts in the EU, for example.
Oh boy, we gotta fact check that. Let's start with Indonesia. Nothing new with Indonesia. This is Justin Trudeau last year signing this free trade agreement with Indonesia. So today's announcement about this massive deal with Indonesia is fake. Fake news.
In such a positive way. As you say, Canada and Indonesia have a deep, deep friendship that goes back to my father and beyond. But it's also a very, very strong trading relationship already. We have great trade ties. We've been growing them over the years. And to be able to announce today that we have signed a free trade agreement with Indonesia between our two countries is great news for both of our economies, for growth, for prosperity, for workers, for businesses. Indonesia is the fourth largest country in the world by population. It's the most important economy in Southeast Asia. And is such a great partner, whether it's on critical minerals, whether it's on energy, whether it's on issues around education, fisheries, natural resources, businesses. We're talking about digital, we're talking about nuclear. There is so much that we get to do together that being able to sign this, have this agreement is, thanks to a lot of hard work on both.
Unbelievable. This was nothing new, Canada. Here's Mark Carney taking credit for something Justin Trudeau did a year ago, September 24th, 2025. We got this amazing trade deal with Eurasia. For Indonesia, it's going to be a game changer. The only thing that's different this time from a year ago is that Mark Carney will be giving a loan financing debt of $825 million to Indonesia. We're going to be giving them money. Nothing else has changed. It's a loan to Indonesia that we're probably never going to see again. That money is going out the door. So what we've announced is we're giving money to Indonesia, and let's read what it says. The money that we're giving for a loan will work in collaboration to attract investment, generate new business opportunities for Canada's exporters and investors in priority sectors across Indonesia, including infrastructure, digital services, renewable energy, and advanced manufacturing. Oh, that money is gone. Oh, and it gets even worse. Check this out. In 2024, Indonesia and Canada's third largest merchandise trading partner among the Southeast Asia. So they prop it up like it's so massive. Get this. Canada's merchandise export to Indonesia were valued at $2.3 billion. Oh, do you know how much trade we do with the United States? Well, we should probably take a look so that you can see how $2.3 billion is nothing. TD Economics has this chart. This is only for 9 months, not a full year, close to $700 billion in trade between the two countries. But look all the way over to the right. Canada is the most important hub for exports to the United States with close to $350 billion. But what I want to show you is this highlighted section. We trade $3.6 billion in import-export flow each and every single day to the United States. How much exactly do we trade with Indonesia? $2.3 billion for the entire year. That is not even one day with the United States. Hey, liberals, thank you. Good job. I'm having fun. Are you having fun? This is this is a lot of fun because I bet you the liberals do not believe that Canadian citizens have a brain cell. They think we're all dumb. They don't realize that we have the computer and we can actually do our own homework. Here is Canada's exports to Mexico. $6.1 billion in 2024. Just so people are aware, the percentage of trade with Mexico is 1.1% of all our trade. And they are excited that we have signed a historic trade deal to strengthen ties with Mexico. This is definitely going to save us, Canada. And then Anita Anand said the EU. Well, I don't think she knew this, but we removed 98% of all our pre-existing tariffs between the two parts back in September 21st of 2017. A week ago, we reached our 8-year anniversary. This was back in September 21st of 2024, our 7th year anniversary where we have free trade with the EU. So there is absolutely no new trade deal with the EU whatsoever. The only thing that's new is we're now committing to billions on defense. Yeah, we're committing money to defense for NATO. That is what we're doing with the EU. But our trade's the exact same as it was yesterday. So let me get this straight. Instead of Canada trading with the country that's right below it, we're going to trade with Mexico somehow, probably use the ocean. We're going to decide to trade with the other side of the planet in Europe. And then we're going to go all the way to Indonesia, which is right here, literally on the other side of the planet. I thought Mark Carney wanted to get to net zero. It looks like we're going to have to pump out the most amount of emissions to trade with partners from other side of the planet instead of just doing this logical thing is sell everything straight down south. We're back to this interview.
So this is all hands on deck for Canada in terms of defense and security, in terms of economic resilience, as well as, of course, standing up for our core values.
Let me drill.
1 second. What is our core values? Is it record homelessness? Is it record food bank usage? Is it record crime rate? Is it record immigration numbers? Is it record affordability crisis? What is our core values with these liberals? I think it is woke, the most woke country on planet Earth. And if you go woke, you go broke. That is the liberal value way.
Down on that, because that's sort of a focus of the speech that you delivered, right? Here are the 3 planks of our foreign policy as we put it forth. Defense and security, as you mentioned, the second, economic resilience, and the third, core values. I want to pick up on the economic resilience part because you gave some examples in Mexico, Indonesia, and in Europe. Your opposition at this moment in time says that you're essentially conveying something that isn't true. That in Indonesia's case, for example, that deal was actually arrived at in November of 2024 before this prime minister took office. That in Mexico, there's not anything really tangible besides an agreement saying that you want to work together more. That even in Europe, CETA is largely in place and that there's no sort of proof of what those expanded relationships will actually mean for Canadians. Can you respond to that criticism that basically you're advertising something that isn't fully actually provable?
She just got exposed. Anita Anand's face said it all.
Actually, they're grasping at straws. Canada is the only G7 country that has a free trade agreement with every other G7 country. We have strong trade relationships. What we are doing is enhancing already existing strong trade relationships by making sure that we're leveraging our international relationships.
All right, I showed you guys. So Mexico's 1.1% of total exports and Indonesia is like 0.3%. So what if we double Mexico, 2.4, 2.2. And if we triple Indonesia, it's going to be not even 1%. We'll be at 0.9%. So we better leverage them hard because we can't replace 78% of our trade with the United States.
So with Mexico, for example, the work that we are doing is to expand the scope of the relationship, to ensure that we are putting on the table Canada's competitive advantages in the area of critical minerals and energy, for example.
We do not have a competitive advantage with anything because there is so much tax in this country and all of the red tape and restrictions. Our oil and gas, they want to get to decarbonized oil. Our oil will be the most expensive oil on planet Earth. Let me show you some stats right now. All of these oil companies have announced in 2025 they are doing massive layoffs, and 2 of them were just announced in 24 hours. We just found out.
And so work, of course, has been ongoing, but in this moment of time, what you are seeing from Prime Minister Mark Carney and our broader team is that we are doubling down on the efforts to expand our trade relationships. And that is what you will continue to see. The EU partnership is a great example. Now, as a result of that agreement, Canadian companies have the ability to compete on the same terms for EU contracts that EU businesses have. That is a difference, Vassy. Trade relationships, economic relationships among countries are complex. Canada is on a good footing, and we are enhancing our trade agreements, our economic relationships right across the board.
What, with respect, though, Minister, will those enhancements tangibly mean for Canadians? I understand the strategy imperative behind it. I think strategic imperative, I think most Canadians do, right? We have become so reliant on the United States that we have to look to become less reliant. But how soon will those efforts bear fruit for Canadians who are looking at a second quarter contraction of the economy to the tune of 1.6%? The closest country in the G7 that even, comes anywhere near that is Germany at a contraction of 0.3%. Like, we are faring worse than other countries right now.
Actually, Vassy, what you need to do in building a strong foundation and diversified trade relationships is continue to pursue those relationships, not retreat. Canada, as I said in my speech this morning, is a multilateral trading partner with many other countries.
Did you not hear Vassy's response? She just went and said, actually, I don't believe... What is she talking about? This is really bad. It's so bad, Canada.
We are going to ensure that those trade agreements benefit Canadian businesses and Canadian workers. This is a time where it is not only Canada that is seeking to further diversify our trade relationships, but every country I'm speaking to here at the United Nations has similar goals, which is this is an area where we see greater protectionism and unilateralism in the global economy. Canada, for our part, will continue to work within multilateral organizations on defense and security. That's NATO and NORAD, for example. In terms of the economy, that's the WTO and individual multilateral trade agreements like CETA and like the CPTPP. These are fundamentally important to the Canadian economy as well as the global economy. And Canada will work to further enhance our leadership on the world stage as other countries retreat towards greater protectionism.
Does she actually believe her BS? Does she actually believe what she's saying? Is she not responding to Vassy? Let's see what Vassy Kapelos has to say now.
Is your government, though, being honest with Canadians about the degree to which that notion and those values and those endeavors that you just explained will actually supplant our economic relationship with the United States? To give your previous government credit, you signed a number of significant free trade deals with different regions of the world that came into effect during that 10-year period, and we still remained trading partners with the United States to the tune of 3/4 of all of our exports consistently through that decade, heading to one single location. So when you talk about enhancing the relationships, like, the Prime Minister often says, like, we can give ourselves what others don't, implying that we'll be able to supplant what we lose with the United States. But the facts just don't bear that out, like, at all. So why not just be honest with Canadians about it?
Actually, I do not agree with your frame. This is being honest with Canadians in the sense that we have a trading relationship with the United States where 75 to 80% of current trade is covered under that agreement.
Oh, really? We're working on USMCA right now, back into the negotiation table in November, and we have Mark Carney going around the world saying we're ditching the US. Our relationship is finished. We're trading with like-minded partners during a negotiation. He is straight up sabotaging the negotiation. It would not surprise me if we get no deal and it expires in June. Oh, yeah, Donald Trump is going to start flexing. He's already said that Hollywood of the North is finished. That is a massive hit to Canada. Yeah, 100% tariff on all films filmed outside of the United States. Canada is going down.
When we talk about the sectors that are not covered, our government will support those sectors as we have with steel and aluminum, for example, as we have with the auto sector, for example, and we will also work to diversify our trading relationships so that there is even greater opportunity for Canadian firms and Canadian workers to benefit from multilateral trade relationships.
We're going to be able to prop up our businesses 100%.
This morning was unsustainable. We didn't choose it carelessly. I've been in the office for 17 years. I was working in the federal government putting together budgets for 10 years prior to that. You got to be you choose these words with prudence and care. And certainly we don't want to be alarmist. And at the same time, the current path we're on in terms of federal debt as a share of the economy is unsustainable.
Oh, man. So I'm sure if we prop up all the sectors that are going to fall because of their trade deal with the United States that crumbles, we're going to be able to survive just fine. The parliamentary budget officer that has done accounting his whole life has no idea what he's talking about.
And I want to stress that changing the composition of a trading relationship does not occur overnight. We have work to do to ensure that we're leveraging the free trade agreements that we have signed. Again, the only G7 country that has such extensive trade agreements across the board. And we'll work to ensure that Canadian businesses are cognizant of those trade relationships that already exist. But you're going to see us continue to sign additional new agreements with other partners. The EU example is just one. Indonesia is another. And of course, I'm traveling to India, Singapore, and China in a few weeks, and I'll continue to ensure that the Canadian domestic economy is.
Oh, wow. She's going to be going to India and all these other countries. Man, we're not going to get anything. This is a disaster, Canada. I've said this before. How far down off the cliff do we need to go before the rest of the country, the elbows up voters, realize that the crisis that we have in this country is not from the United States? It's not from anybody except for homegrown crisis from our own liberal government's incompetence. If we don't autocorrect right away, as our parliamentary budget officer has announced, we are going down off the cliff and boom. We need change in this country. And hopefully when they present us the budget, the explosion of our finances in the fall on November 4th, that causes a non-confidence vote and we go to the polls. I'll see you on the next report.